Today we talk about those auxiliary verbs. But before going to talk about those auxiliary verbs, we need to know about verbs. All of us know that verbs are the words that are used to demonstrate a certain action. Uh, so what are these? What are those auxiliary verbs? Uh, as you know, verbs are classified into different categories according to their own functions and meanings. And this auxiliary verb is a category of a certain kind of verbs. So let's go deeper in and study more about those auxiliary verbs. So verbs are categorized into lots of categories such as transitive verbs, intransitive verbs, verbs of incomplete predication, defective verbs, then so on. So those auxiliary verbs. Uh, those auxiliary verbs are one of the most important factors in English language because when we form a sentence, the auxiliary verb is needed. Whether it is a passive sentence or whether it's a passive sentence or active voice sentence or any type of sentence, the auxiliary verbs are needed. So what are those auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs have different categories. Even auxiliary verbs are categorized into subcategories. So uh, they help us to uh, demonstrate a certain time. There are several types of auxiliary verbs. They are be, have, do, shall, will, may. So today we will talk about those things. If we talk about to be or to have, shall and will, should and would, they are so complex parts in English language. So, but before going to that level, we need to have an understanding of how to use those auxiliary verbs. Today, I will not talk about those complex areas, but I will talk about that how can and should, which are auxiliary verbs, and they are also known as determiners, but they are not determiners, but they are used as articles. But in today's lesson, we just talk about use of should and can as auxiliary verbs. So let's talk about it. But remember that they can be used in different categories in English language too. They are used in this category and they can be used as articles, auxiliary verbs, so on. So let's move on and talk about those use of can and should. So as the first use is we use can to say that something is possible or to say that somebody has the ability to do something. That means we use the auxiliary verb can to say that somebody have an ability to do something or something is possible to happen. I will tell you an example so that you can understand it easily. He can jump. It's a simple sentence that we can form by using this structure. That means we use can to demonstrate that somebody has an ability to do something. Uh, and we also use it to say that something is possible to happen. So we talked about the can be used to demonstrate that somebody have ability to do something. No, something is possible to happen. So let's talk about the second use, which is you. We often use should with I think, I don't think. For instances, before going to talk about the use of should, we will talk about other uses of can.
Soniru, is your technology case?
Okay, Ditukar. Sorry for the interruption. So let's continue. I talked about can be used to demonstrate a certain ability of something or something is possible to happen. So, and can you know that there is a negative form to a lot of auxiliary verbs like is, isn't, will, won't, will not. So can has a negative form too. It is cannot. Uh, we can use contracted form to write it. So we use can, we write can and apostrophe and t. So we can contract it by using that way. And if we are told to write it in not contracted form, non-contracted form, we need to use can, C-A-N-N-O-T, cannot. It's the negative form of the word auxiliary verb can. So we uh, instead of can, we can use the phrase able to. Uh, for instance, we are able to speak English fluently, or we can just say we can speak English fluently. That means we can use be able to instead of can. So because there is only a same meaning in it. However, can has two forms. We know that is have only one form, and then shall have two forms. So what are those forms? That means can is used in present time and can also be used to demonstrate something that happened in the past. But we cannot use can to do it. We need to use could. So can has two forms, which are present form and past form. So the present form of can is can, the past form of can is could. Okay, let's move on to the other page, another page. Dituka, the next page. Okay, so there are the basics about can. Uh, but remember that there are many strict rules with regard to that could. It is not only used as the present of can, past of can, but is also used as in many other different ways. But today we do not talk about that. So let's move on to the next page. Rituka, next page. Okay. Now we talk about should. So now we talked about can. Uh, we talked basic tools of can. So we now talk about the auxiliary verb should. Uh, there are some things that I need to tell you before going to talk about the uses of this should. When that should is used, I will tell you. The should is used in direct speech. We know what is direct speech and indirect speech. Should is used in direct speech in order to demonstrate an intention or determination. Okay, now let's move on to the uses of should. We can use should to give advice or opinion. For instance, we say you should wear the helmet. That means, uh, imagine there is a road and there is a rider without a helmet. So it is not legal. It is not actually legal to not to wear a helmet when we ride a vehicle like bicycle. So I say to him, uh, you should wear the helmet. That means I give my opinion to him, my advice to him, that he need to wear the helmet. So should can be used to uh, demonstrate an opinion or advice to somebody. So now we we often use should. We frequently use should with the phrases I think and I don't think. We say I don't think that I should go to the bed. That means we use those phrases I think and I don't think with should. Uh, but there are some cases that we don't use it. But if we need to say an opinion about something using I think, we need to use should. We should use should. Okay. So, for instance, I think I should study. I think I should study. So, then I don't think you should work hard. Do you think I should work hard? That means it can be used in interrogative form and using can, and let's talk about it later. So we use should when something is not right or not what we expected. That means we use should when something is not right or not what we expected. That means imagine that I expect you to uh, come tomorrow. So I say you should come tomorrow. So when something is not right, that means imagine that someone did a house breaking. So I say you shouldn't steal things. That means we use should to say that something is not right, but it is not a very strong word to use. But we can use must instead, and must is a stronger word than this should. So let's move on to the next page, which is about a very strict grammar rule. Rituka, next page. Jituka, next page. Next page, Jituka. Okay. So, let's talk about should have. That is a form of should, but care must be, we need to take a lot of care in order not to confuse it when it comes to write English or speak English. That means spoken English or written English. So, what is this should have?
Yeah. Soniru, you are muted.
Okay, Jituka. Sorry for the interruption. So, when we use this should have, I'll tell you, we use should have to say that somebody could do something although that did not do it. That means we can use this phrase. This phrase should have to say that can you hear me?
Yes, Soniru.
Sorry for the
Can
interruption.
you?
Okay, Dituka. So we use should have to say that something could happen but did not happen. That means, let's take a look at those examples. You should have studied more to the exam. That means he should have studied more to the exam. That means he could have studied more. That means he has not studied. If somebody say that you should have done more, that means you haven't done more. I think you understand, you could understand it. So let's move on to the our last page. So our discussion about those auxiliary verbs can and should has come to an end. So now our discussion is finished. Dituka? So let's learn about another model verb in our next discussion. But for today, our discussion is finished.
Yes, Soniru. Thank you for discussing today lesson. මම හිතනවා යාළුවා හැමෝටම මේක ගොඩක් ඉන්ටරෙස්ට් වෙන්නේ නැති කියලා. ඕගොල්ලෝ මේකෙන් දෙයක් ගත්තා නම් ඕගොල්ලන්ට ගොඩක් හොඳ විදිහට මම හිතන්නේ සොනිරු කියා දෙන්නේ නැති ඕගොල්ලෝ ලොකු දෙයක් මේකෙන් ගන්න නැති කියලා මම හිතනවා. ඕගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් මේ වගේ අපි වීඩියෝස් දානවා නිතරම නේද සොනිරු?
ඔව් ජිතුක.
ඒවත් අපි ඕගොල්ලන්ට බලන්න අපිට සලස්වන්න පුළුවන්. ඕගොල්ලෝ කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ YouTube channel එක subscribe කරන්න. එතකොට ඕගොල්ලන්ට හම්බ වෙනවා මේ වීඩියෝස් එකේ notification එකක් විදිහට එනවා. ඕගොල්ලන්ට මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිට comment එකක් විදිහට දාන්න කියලා ඉල්ල ආයෙත් සාදරයෙන් ඉල්ලලා සිටිනවා. එහෙනම් සොනිරු අද දවසට අපි අපේ section එක ඉවර කරමු නේද?
Oh yes ජිතුක. ඔව් ජිතුක.
එහෙනම් ඕගොල්ලන්ට නැවත වඩාක් අපේ YouTube channel එක subscribe කරන්න කියන ගමන් අද දිනට නියමිතව තිබුණු auxiliary verbs ගැන කරන විස්තරය සොනිරු විසින් කරන විස්තරය අවසන් කරනවා. එහෙනම් මේක බලාගෙන හිටපු ඕගොල්ලෝ හැමෝටම ස්තුතියි. ඊළඟ දවසේ හම්බ වෙනකම් අදට සමුගන්නවා. ස්තුතියි. දවසේ අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා තව එක